All right. I should be live now. Let me check. All right, cool. So we're live. Sorry guys for all the inconvenience with kind of the stream times I'm missing last week. We realized he was set for 4:30 a.m. New York time, and I was set for 4:30 p.m. New York time. So I was asleep and didn't really work out. But we will try to get that rescheduled. We will have one. Um, we will have one this Sunday. But the giveaway is already. I did the randomization of the numbers, found the liked that corresponded to that numbers, and then the winners have been selected. I'll go ahead and hold up. I have to go. So I'll post it on Twitter first, real quick, just because it's easier because I don't know there. Right here. There's 2 winners, and then you guys can just DM me, and I will get you guys set up with Elite Trader funding. So give me 1 second to make this post. And give me 1 second. I don't know what your Twitter is, so I can't tell you if you're a winner. I'm going to post it really quick. Good one. All right, so just posted that winner, or the winners for that, and they are, well, I'll just pull it over. They are BG's Trades and then Victor. So those are the winners of the giveaway. And now that that is settled, I'll probably do some more of those sometime. I think it was kind of fun to do. But other than that, if you guys have any questions over like the price action of the week, price action of the day, we can go over that. Really just anything you guys want. Kind of felt bad for ditching the stream last weekend. That's you? Nuh-uh. That's sick. Congrats, man. Send me a DM on Twitter and we'll get you set up. So those are the winners. What's up, AM? All the bots I bought did. But yeah, if you guys have any, I can review the price action from today or go over anything, really. It's just up to what you guys want to cover. We'll probably keep this one around 30 minutes to an hour. Maybe I'll have AM hop in. AM, you want to hop into the stream? What's up, Jeffy? Here, I'm gonna text AM and see if he wants to join the stream. Daily bias draw now. Where do you think we're headed? Let me look. I'm gonna DM AM real quick. Daily bias draw now. So if we go over here to the daily chart, I'm just gonna remove all these drawings. I probably should have kept them. Those were today. So ideally, what I would like to see going into this next week is a run for this low, right? We don't have to. We did run this low, which was really what I was targeting today on both of them, on NQ and ES. So I'm not super biased going into next week because I think we could either get a little Judas swing down to run this low before getting a retracement, or we kind of go the opposite, get our Judas swing up before running the low. either way, I just will probably do more of my intra-bias stuff and cover that. All right, AM might be joining the live, so that will be fun. Can you show me your 0.5 fib settings, bro? I will screenshot it. Yeah. So I'll just go here. So this is my fib settings, right? So that's my 0.5, 0.1, 0.62, 0.79, right? So if you just want the 0.5 on there, get rid of these two. So I just have them preset, so then I can get rid of them like that, right? Right. Just depending on what I want to see. So I'm not too biased into next week. Obviously for today, I wanted downside. If any of you watched my stream from this morning, you know all I talked about was this 93.25 level. And the reason I had that was if we go to an hourly chart, right? We go back to where we're sitting right here, right? All it is this low. That's all that was. So if we zoom out, run that, right, and zoom back in, that's the low I wanted hit this morning. So I finally did it. How can I participate in the next giveaway? Whenever I have a next giveaway, I'll just post it on my community tab on here. That's what I did with that, and then also on Twitter. Twitter's just a lot easier. Would you kiss Brian Stunk? AM said yes, so no 70% OTE. I truly do think if we're gonna just keep going down, I don't think we're gonna get a retracement all the way up here. That's just my thinking. We definitely could, but if we're actually gonna drop, I don't think we'd go that high in my eyes. But like I said, I trade the 15-second chart mostly. So like my daily bias, I normally use my hour and 4-hour as my daily bias charts, right? So when I saw this get put in, right? This is your intermediate term high. As long as that's not broken, we're still bearish, right? So why don't use the 0.705 level in your fib? The reason for that being is normally I just use OTE to find some sort of imbalance in that region, right? So let me find an example. We'll go to like a 1 minute. So for example, let's say we're using this swing right here or this swing right here, right? I'll go from low to high. Yeah, the 0.7 is probably in there and it hit it, but no matter what, like I know that there's a little order block right there that it should bounce off of. I don't really need to know where the 0.7 is exactly, as long as it's in this range, because for the most part, I'll search out fair value gaps or some sort of liquidity, right? So for here, ran this liquidity, get your aggressive move back out. If you miss that entry, could take this entry, even though it's a little bit more risky. Like I'm just trying to give examples. Let's see here real quick. But yeah, for participating in the next giveaway, just check make sure you can turn on notifications if you want, but my community stream will show up, and it'll show you. Gotta head out. See you, Nicholas. AM, you gonna join? Have the winners been announced? Yeah, so I'll just go over here real quick. So these are the winners. It was BG Trades and Invictor. Those were the random number selections. So congrats to them. They'll send me a DM. We'll get them set up. Difference between a rejection or order block and breaker block. So an order block, let me find not gold futures. Go to like a 5-minute chart here. Trying to find a good example here. One that's like pretty easy for you guys. I just want like a big drop. I don't really use breakers a whole lot unless they line up with fair value gaps. So like this, okay. So, and I'm going to go over an order block first, right? So down close candle before you move up. And that's essentially what it is. There's your order block, right? Now a breaker block is the same thing, right? So it's an order block, but it was just broken back through. Think of it that way, right? So this up close or series of up close candles here, right? Before the move down, well, it comes back through and breaks it. There's your breaker block entry right there, right? And essentially taking that leg up, this is where you look for price action. You go to like a 15, let's go back here, wherever that was. Where was I? Right there, right? So here's your 15-minute breaker block right there, right? Lines up with your OTE, so you could take an entry in there or going to a lower time frame. Yeah, the winners have been announced. But I might do some more giveaways because I think it's kind of fun to do. Nothing where you have to like do anything, just like a post or something easy. But does that kind of answer your question, Exelani, between the difference between breaker block and order block? Essentially, like this is another breaker block, right? So this is your order block here before the move up, where that ran these highs, and then you get your move down, and then this would be your breaker block, right? So the only time I really use them is when they're super obvious within a fair value gap, so similar to that. But for the most part, if I'm looking for an entry in OTE anyways, I'll just use a lower time frame confirmation entry. See real quick. All right, I guess AM's not joining. Let's see. I think anyone else want to join up that I know, but I could go over the price action today if you guys want. Why that didn't delete it? Yes, thanks. Identifying what fair value gap will be respected. So a lot of times you don't exactly know, right? But it's depending on your risk tolerance, right? So for example, we just go into this price action right here, right? We're just looking at this little range right here, right? So looking in here, right, we have this up close candle. This would be your order block before you move down. And we have a fair value gap right here. And actually, I'll just go to replay feature. That will be easier. So looking at that, you see that fair value gap and this fair value gap, right? That's 15-minute. If you go to the hour, right, you have one right there as well. How do you know which one will be respected? Well, you don't actually know, right? If you look at 5-minute, we have one up there. How do you know between all these? And you don't, but what it really comes down to is your risk tolerance, right? If you are willing to take a trade right in here and have your stop up here above this high, right? Then go for it and take it, right? But I don't like that much of a stop size. So what I would do is I wouldn't look at this one, and due to that being not above in a discount, right? Or really OTE. OTE just gives you better risk to reward in like inherent, like it just gives you better risk to reward no matter what, because you're not looking for trades in the lower end of a range, like going short and going long, right? So then once you have this, get rid of that. You know you want us to run this internal liquidity. Then I will go down to like a lower time frame, see what we have. Well, nothing really besides this fair value gap on the high up here. So I'll look there. And I don't know if it'll let me go down to the lower. Oh, it will. So it could also, I would also have this drawn out, right? And then the way I play it, well, let me go to 15 second. Oh, sweet. Okay. So normally what I look for is, we'll speed this up till we get there, is once we get a move up into that region, right? So we're moving up here. I want to see the model, right? So move up. You can either put in this low here, take this high. I prefer to sweep, but it doesn't have to. Break this low, give us an entry down, right? So give us that fair value gap set up there. So knowing that, let me do that. We'll zoom into this price action, slow it down a little. And this is our point of interest, right? Just anywhere in this area. And we'll go 3x speed. So knowing that, this would be our low that we need ran first until we put in another low, right? So we'll probably put in a low there, right, in this little fair value gap. So here's our low now. Okay, we just swept the highs. So there's your, we draw this out, right? This is what we're looking for, or this is about what I look for on every time frame, right? So we want this liquidity run of the highs, even on the lower time frames. It doesn't have to happen, but I prefer it. And then this is your breakup structure, right? So then if we play this out, are we going to get an aggressive drop? Okay. Put in equal lows, not convinced yet, right? Now, what do? We ran this high, right? We put in this low, technically, right? This is what I do for lower time frame setups. I want to see this low taken, okay? So what is that? There's our breakup structure, right? Swept these highs, aggressive move down, broke structure here. Where is our obvious imbalance? Right here, right? So then you can take your setup either at the midpoint. This is when I would possibly use a breaker block, right? So use this right here. Short that, put your stop on the high. Then you can target your lows, right? Or really anything, even internal liquidity there, right? Because if we go to a 5-minute chart, we have this fair value gap here, and you would want to target internal liquidity. So then if you let that play out, it's either going to work or it doesn't. I don't think I took this trade. Might stop us out, but who knows, right? There's your secondary entry there. And there you go, right? So 2.5 risk to reward. And that's why I like to use the lower time frame setups is like, yes, you could take this right when you get into it on like a 1 minute or something, right? But where's your risk going to have to be? It's going to have to be, even if you enter at the exact same spot, right? Where's your risk going to be? It's going to have to be on this high, 6 points, right? For targeting the same thing, 1.6 risk to reward versus 2.5, right? So you can see the reason for that being. Now, if you wanted to counter trend scalp that back, right? Because after this move down, you're in this fair value gap here. What would you want to see? A lower time frame setup the other direction, right? So flip this over. I normally go to like a 5-second if I'm really trying to counter trend scalp, but nothing yet, right? And there's no reason to go long yet, right? Because if you want to wait for that break the structure, which you had none of, right? And that's why if you go look at the price action just today on a 1-minute chart, this is why there was no reason. Is that this morning? Oh, that looks like the that was the trade that we looked at in the morning. If you look at a 1-minute chart, clearing this out, where's the structure you have to do to change, right? This one, obviously, right before the news, but the lack of displacement. See how there's no displacement right here? All we're doing is grabbing this liquidity on a lower time frame, right? Let's zoom out. Yeah, all that is just a liquidity grab. And what does this do right here? This is your little inducement model, right? We have internal range liquidity sitting right here. News comes out, pops that high into a fair value gap, puts in your intermediate term high. That's where you want to get short, and then you expect a short-term high to be made right there, right? I missed some questions, so did that kind of help you, Uriel? Breakage structure and market structure shift. Okay, so they all kind of mean the same thing people use them differently. Like a lot of people will use market structure break for when it's like changing character or going from a bearish to a bullish trend, and then a breakage structure or market structure shift is like as a continuation, right? So if we're looking at a 1 minute trend here, right? Every time we make a new low here, that's your break a structure down or market structure shift down, right? Once we shift to a bullish structure here, that would, some would call that your change of character, market structure break. Really, it doesn't matter. Just focus on displacement, right? So if you look like at these highs that we were looking at earlier in the day, right? You technically could say this like broke structure because it did break the structure. However, there's no displacement over these highs. And that is what kind of gave you the cue that we're going to continue short. And that's why I was wanting 93.25, right? I'm guessing you don't use MT4 or MT5 to trade the 15-second chart. No, I do not. I don't know if you could. I don't know how their orders are. Dave, did that help you out? Hopefully. Can you explain the difference between Model 1 and Model 3? So yeah, and there's not, those numbers I gave them are just for people to kind of see. I'm actually, my next video next week is going to be about taking your intraday bias and turning it into entries, right? And then it'll probably be like a 3 or 4 video series about using each of those models with examples. But essentially, so Model 1 is just your fair value gap setup, right? Like this, or at least that's what I have. That's all it is, right? And then Model 3 is all it is just adding OTE into it, right? And so all it's saying is it's giving you your risk to reward in some sort of confluence, right? Really, they're all the same model with just slight variations, right? So if you look at this one, use the path, right? See, if you do something like this, this is the same model essentially, except we just have internal range liquidity that is ran. So this model is basically this one on a 15-second, right? If we go there, go to a 15-second, right? We have we're putting in new lows, right? Here's internal liquidity, but that is your low, your range. And then when you see this, well, whatever, right? You have equal highs, that's your internal liquidity, runs it, then it goes lows, then you can target this low here, right? So whatever, if we play that out, it should go hit. So can you point second entry? The second entry up here on the 15 could use just any of this really. Normally when you get a smart money reversal like that off open, could use this breaker block to there, or these up close candles, right? Wicks or opening. So that could be another entry there with your risk right there. Really, when you're trending, right, or moving down, all of these up close candles, sweet, all these up close candles should like resist price ultimately, right? Kind of like mitigation blocks essentially, which they don't take out liquidity on one side before breaking. So did that help? Lincoln? I don't know. What is OTE? I actually have a video on that if you want to check it out on my education playlist. Essentially, it is just an area where your optimal trade entry or retracement should go to, which inherently increases your risk to reward, right? Because if you're risking this high and you enter in your OTE in here, right, you can see how your risk to reward 2.33. If you just enter at a discount, right, there's 1, and if you're entering the low of the range, you have not risk reward not greater than 1. So just is a kind of way to increase your risk to reward. Jeez, man. All right. All right. Let's see. When we needed him the most, 2 trades at the years. That's funny. AM might hop on. We have like 30 minutes or so. During volatility, do you market order in? Normally not. Um, during like lots of volatility, I'll just use the lower time frames, like 15 second. During FOMC, I actually traded the 5 second chart. Um, and ideally, you take pullbacks with low risk um, during volatility. Or if you miss something, you miss it, right? I'm not super. Does your models based on IT? My models are only based on ICT's 2022 mentorship, right? All they are is his model with slight variations and additions. I just tried to kind of narrow it down and make it simple for some people. Yeah, of course, Steve. Do you use institutional levels? I do not, besides like big figures like 3,700, 3,800, stuff like that. I don't use the like 20, 40, 60, 80s, really. Can I see a trade? Can you see the trade setup I took at 1506? Let me hop out of replay here and delete this. I'll go to 1506. So you took this initial one here. I most likely probably wouldn't have taken that one, to be honest. So you went long right here at 1506, which, right, you can definitely do that. I just don't like that risk, even if you're, targeting these equal highs. Yeah, it's good risk reward. That's just too much for me normally. So I would have waited for this secondary entry, like this. I was sleeping, but like that one, right? Because there, I don't know. I honestly probably wouldn't have traded this at all because I normally like to see, if we just take this displacement range here, I would have liked to seen this come down to here before going higher. So usually if I miss something like that, I just stay out of it, but I can see how you took it. Do you use your bracket orders in Ninja in advance, or do you dynamically adjust it each time? How do you determine contract size on the fly? So I have them preset for every stop size that I use, right? So if I'm taking a 2-point stop, I'll take 10 contracts. 3-point stop, 7, right? 4-point stop, 5, right? So if I'm taking like a 3.5 stop, I'll just use my 4 contract and then adjust my stop slightly and then set up my risk to reward based on the structure. How do you get that risk to reward tool? It's just right over here on the left. Long position, short position. And it will show you risk to reward. What helps you see the market directions for examples for when will days... Wait, I'm trying to read this. What helps you to see the market directions, for example, for when the days... Can you try to... I don't see no opportunity, but some people see opportunities. I wouldn't worry about what other people see, right? Because everyone trades differently, right? So someone might, like whoever just took this long, right? They might see that as an opportunity while I don't, and that's fine with me. Do what works for you, right? So if your model doesn't present itself in a day, who cares, right? You don't need to trade that, even if other people are, right? Like if someone, made 300% on puts, taking this like trend line breakout here, this little retest, I don't care because that's not how I trade, right? I'd be like, awesome, like really good for you, but like I wouldn't take that trade. See, so it's just it's a you versus you game, so don't worry about what other people are saying. Giveaway for the stat room, I could possibly work something out for that actually. I can talk to them about possibly giving away a month. What was your longest trade? I don't swing, so I'd say my longest trade was like a few hours. Just holding micro. What futures broker do you use or recommend? I'd say the most popular ones are Ninja, Tradeovate, and AMP for discount brokers. Let's see. Did you get all your ICT knowledge from the recordings or you were mentored by ICT? I learned everything from his free YouTube mentorship. I did not get mentored by him or anything. I really just learned from lots of backtesting and then finding people, peers to learn from, mentors to learn from, and then also like helping kind of teach it or like helping other people also helps me learn. In my analysis yesterday, dollar in Brazil was its equal liquidity at lower prices. However, the price opened with a gap of 50 points. That's invalidated my analysis. What should my behavior be? What's the ticker for dollar in Brazil? We can go over it. You mind going over some 15-second scalps from today? Yeah, so we actually, before I got off my morning stream, we took this scalp here. Let's see, which one is it? I'd have to look at my Twitter real quick. I always forget. What time is that? 10:30. So the scalp that I took was, or that we took, was if we go right into here and go to the 15-second chart, you can see right here we had, it's kind of like if you've watched Alex Options box setup video, it's kind of like that. So we have this consolidation, right? You can kind of see it all right here. We have an aggressive move out of the consolidation, aggressive move back in. And so I see this. What do I see? Well, I see this imbalance here, this liquidity resting here. So essentially look to short it in there, stop right there, and then on these lows there, right? So just a quick scalp and then wherever, I think it hit right there. And I actually got off stream like right here, and then it just touches this low, comes back, and eventually takes it out. And I think this high is held until the end of day, actually, on that move up. So you can see that's when Powell, or not when Powell spoke, but that's another run of liquidity, right? So we have these super equal lows, basically an iceberg order here, gets ran, aggressively bought up, right? But there is no displacement over these highs, right? You see that? Not even a close above it. And that's your kind of signal to, that's your inducement model. It might show up on a 30-second or 1 minute pretty well. Let's see real quick. So yeah, 1 minute, you can kind of see it pretty well, right? You have your aggressive move down, internal range liquidity, gets ran, runs these equal lows. You stream live as you trade. I stream on Friday mornings on Open, but other than that, I just do lunch streams, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's one of the scalps that we were looking at. I tried to long up in here. I got stopped out of it on the stream. I can send that link if you guys want. It's on my Twitter. Do you feel that NQ does not abide to ICT's rules as easy as ES, or why are you only looking at ES? I actually look at NQ quite a bit because the majority of times it's actually cleaner. I find. I'm just doing this as an example because that's what I looked at today. But normally I'm watching both of them, right? So, and then normally not the Dow, but might add the Dow back in. How many trades do you normally take per week? It depends what I'm doing. If I'm scalping or like just taking really high quality setups. If I'm scalping, I can take, like 10 to 20 trades a day. But if I'm taking just really high quality setups, it'll be like 1 to 3, maybe a day, if that. Can you go over market maker buy model real quick? So I'm actually not the best person to go over the market maker buy model. Solely off the fact that I don't use it as much. I would check out someone like Sniper on Twitter. I actually had him as a guest on my live stream. If you want to check him out, that's literally what we went over in the video. Do you suggest ES or NQ for beginner traders? I would say trade ES. It's a little bit slower, and would probably be better for most people. How long have you been in the industry? I've been trading a year and a half now. What are commissions on futures? I think it's like $3.98 for a mini, $1 for a micro, or something like that. I don't really look at it too much. And I do trade NAS, and it's the same. Yeah. So let's see. I don't know. My strategy depends on the type of day that we're having. Um, and like if I miss, like if we have a big trend day and I miss the first move, I just hop off because I suck at trend days. That is one of my weaknesses. So, um, but I am stuck with GBP USD. Let me look. Wait, I want to see what gold did real quick. Oh, so it did break down. Alex and I were talking about this, and we thought it would go run these lows, which it did, which is nice. G, real quick. I'm missing it. GBP USD. Oh, Great Britain pound. Oh wow. Well, I just wouldn't touch this right now. Is this the lowest it's been in like years or something? Oh, nope, just since 1984. So I don't know what much to tell you on that, other than maybe watch the hourly for a shift in structure to go higher. I don't watch British pound US dollar, and I also know this would depend on like Dixie and other things possibly. I haven't really looked into Forex too much, but are these, can you check? Wait, do you have a funded account? Yeah. Are you a full-time trader? No, I am actually a student in college right now. Can you check review a different chart like Bank Nifty or Nifty 50? What are those? Maybe I'm just missing terminology. But are these models working crypto? I don't personally trade crypto, but I do see a lot of people on Twitter who do and do well for it. Is this a breaker block? I'll get back to you in the Discord after the YouTube stream. Do you also trade Forex pairs? I do not. Liquidity to grab a June lows on Monday? Possibly. I think I kind of mentioned this daily, right? I want to either see like I'm not super biased, so like the way I see it is we either get a little run up into here, possibly into this little order block, or even run those highs. I would like to see, ideally I'd want to see a Judas swing down to go a little higher than like that. So I kind of have a green week next week, or like a little slight 2 down green week. Let's see. I posted a chart in chat. Yeah, Martin. I wouldn't have taken that as a breaker, although it could be considered a breaker, or like that'd just be an order block entry actually. What's going on tomorrow, the 24th? I'm gonna be sleeping. The market's not open, so I'll be doing some homework, sleeping. If you had 1,000, what would be 1R? I'm a little confused on your question there. Is that Zahat? Like, what are you asking? Like, how much would I risk per trade? What is the reason you prefer NAS as Forex? I started trading stocks and options and then kind of went to futures, so I just haven't really felt the need to go to Forex yet. My question, considering large unexpected gaps at the opening, how do you deal with it? The gap contradicts your analysis. I don't have a lot of experience with gaps, solely off the fact that I trade New York session, and the only time futures gaps is right after New York close, and then I think we had a gap in here somewhere. So there's never like a gap on the open for me because I don't trade Asia or London sessions. What is my favorite instrument? I don't know. I really like NAS, especially for scalping. But I don't know. ES is always kind of just there for me. What's your favorite? Do you have any process to define weekly and daily bias? Yeah, I actually have a video going over it. As I've kind of refined my system, I don't really focus as much on daily bias. Like, I obviously know where we wanted to go towards the end of the week, but I kind of use the hour and 4 hour as my daily charts right now, right? So, for example, come up here, fill this fair value gap, aggressive move down. We're likely to see these lows, right? Very little aggression, more consolidation right here. Go finish below initial consolidation down here. Judas swing. All a Judas swing is if we look at the weekly chart here, right? We open right here, right? We move higher. This is your Judas swing right here. This is your manipulation and accumulation, right? So if we go to a daily, right? Open, this is our manipulation up here. Then we get like accumulate shorts, go down here. Any consolidation in here, the one I just highlighted on like the hourly, this is just more reaccumulation to redistribute. Yeah, how much risk? I'm struggling with general position size and management. A general term is like risking 1% of your account. On funded accounts, I would risk 7, or like I risked 7 on my funded account challenges in past them. So I mean, that's personally up to what you prefer, right? If you can risk 10%, doesn't really affect your emotions, and you just trade like that, go for it, right? If you can only trade 1% or 0.5%, do that. It really depends on what you're trading, what your emotions are, how you want to size. Everyone's different in that aspect, so it's like not like I can answer. And I think AM is going to join us here in a second. And I haven't even started the 2016 mentorship, right? I've only done the 2022. Have you experienced huge loss? There's been days where, one in the spring specifically, that I had a quiz and I was up pretty nicely on the day. And I was like, I'm just going to take one more trade before I go take this quiz. And then I just blew the crap out of that trade and just lost a lot. But do you live trade on YouTube while you trade? I haven't yet, but I am considering doing it on like Mondays or something like that. I think I actually have a plan to start in October, possibly. Do you consider order blocks? Normally, I just focus on fair value gaps and liquidity. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna move this over to my other screen here, just because AM Trades is gonna hop on with us, just for some fun, So move that over. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call him. I don't really use order blocks too much, just because I don't really need to with the way I trade. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna get AM on here. Yeah, 1 sec. I'll set you up. All right. You want to share your screen?
Yeah.
And then you took a 20-point short in the overnight session, right?
Yeah, but that was more of with the footprint, so I don't know.
Oh, footprint. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
Am I on?
I think I messed it up. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Yeah, you're on.
What's going on?
So AM is in here. How long to finish the 2022 mentorship and start trading live? I finished the 2022 mentorship in about 2 weeks, and then I spent a week and a half just with no trading, nothing, just watching price. How many timeframes do you have open while trading, or just cycle through one? Curtis, I normally sit on this grid right here and have 4, right? So I normally have a higher time frame, such as an hour, 4 hour, sometimes a daily. I have a 5 minute, a 15 minute, and then this will be my 1 minute sub 1 minute chart down here. Divergence. YM took the lows of June, but ES did not, correlating to the move up at the end of the day today. Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out on. Which ICT 2022 mentorship? Just his first one. Do you journal like ICT says? Sometimes. I can find an example while AM's going for a little bit. AM, you want to kind of go for something or go over anything? You guys have any questions for AM? He just hopped in, so
I mean, I have something, but if there's any questions, I can answer.
yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna find a quick example of a back test. Here's a quick example of kind of one back test I did. While you guys figure out some questions for AM here. So if you look at this, just a little template on Notion, and I don't want to open them all, but just stuff that I found to work, and then basically going down from the upper timeframes to the lower timeframes all the way to the 1 minute and kind of annotating why price reacted at every single spot, right? So that's just an example. AM, you're good to go. I think do it on Bitcoin USDT. You trade Bitcoin, right? Yeah, or AM a little bit.
Occasionally, I did a lot more before, but now it's mostly just indices and then euro.
Euro.
Yeah.
Can you explain money management plan to pass 12% of your target of funded accounts? So I normally I treat it more of my drawdown, right? So if my drawdown is 1,500 per se and my target is 1,500 as well, I'll use 7% of that, which is about $100, and then I will trade that. So let's say I take, 5 3R trades in a row, I'm done, right? That's basically it. I kind of went over it in my risk reward setup, but I Twittered you. I'll look over it in a second. I'm going to let AM kind of take over, and I'm going to grab some water real quick. All right, AM, you're good to go.
Let's see. How many videos are in the 2022 mentorship? There are 41, I believe, and all the times are a bit different, but all of them are pretty equally valuable. How do you know when to pass a trade? Pass on taking a trade at a fair value gap. Um, that's kind of a tough question. I think the main thing a lot of people lose sight of is the higher time frame. So if that market structure shift, fair value gap, that setup is going against higher time frames, and it's likely not going to work out. So if you're intraday trading, it seems like out of the question, but using daily to hourly time frames are really going to be helpful. That's going to give you bias. And I can go over. Let's see if there's any questions.
You can use the strat. I personally will consider it sometimes with lower time frames, like just taking a break, but I don't really use it anymore. What made you stop trading crypto, AM?
Just better opportunities on the indexes, and I just think I'm just more consistent there. And I use some things on the side that aren't really available on crypto, so I have better trading on other places.
Yeah. What funded company do you recommend? The only two I have experience with is Elite Trader Funding and Apex. It kind of depends what you're looking for out of it. Like Elite Trader Funding, you can use TradingView through TradeAdate, so like that's nice if you have a Mac, because if not, you have to Rhythmic doesn't run on like a Mac or Ninja, so then you have to get Parallels, a bunch of stuff. I would say do quite a bit of research, and if you have any questions, you can DM me. But it comes down to like personal preference, to be honest. I don't know, AM, did you take any trades during the day today, or?
No, I wasn't watching much today. But I think there was a good play into close with the weekly profile, which might be worth going over.
Yeah, go
'Cause
for it.
I always preach that.
Yeah, I saw it on your private Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. I can't stop talking about it because it happens all the time. I might as well show this. I'm probably gonna make a post on Twitter about it, but weekly profile is really just a fractal power of three into the week. So this is kind of just like a speculation from last week to see lows, but it's really all about from a fractal of time. This would be on a daily time frame, seeing a power of three throughout the month. So opening price from September, Judas swing, range expansion, and then a potential close at the opposite end of the range. But I can look into the weekly profile. Um, so we had this same scenario. I'm going to do it on this. So if you mark out the start of the week, let's see. It's been the same scenario the past 2 weeks. So that's the opening price of the week. This is an hourly chart. When we're looking for a weekly profile, this is a way you can gain your daily bias. So we're going to look for from the start of the week, if we're bearish, we know we're in a monthly power of three and we're looking for range expansion. So we are bearish. So during these weeks, we're also going to be looking for fractal power of three setups. So using the weekly profile on the opening of the week, we're going to be seeking price to make a Judas swing like this, high of week during Monday or Tuesday, or early New York session on Wednesday. But Monday, Tuesday is ideal. So here we have an obvious Judas swing. That's news, bearish day, and then range expansion all the way down into Friday. And this is why if you see me put TGIF on my Twitter, it's thank God it's Friday. If you've never heard that phrase, but in trading, that's the opposite end of the weekly range. If you look on the weekly chart, that's you capitalizing on these little wicks here, these upside moves towards the end of the close of the week. So last time we have Friday. That's
Quick
Friday's
question.
range.
Do you look at
Do
the
you got
opening price of the week or the day starting from midnight, last night's open, or New York open?
in regards to the weekly profile?
Yeah.
Well, I start. So I mean, technically, it's pretty similar usually because there's not much action. But like this would be the actual candle of the weekly opening price. But for the week, I'll take Monday midnight open, and then for each, like this is Friday, I'm taking it from 0 0 and drawing that out. So I'm always using midnight opening price for any week opening.
Wait.
And then yeah, so when Friday comes around, I took the trade last week. I wasn't really watching much today. Um, but we come into close, sweep below, and we're entering. I'm gonna do replay. So we have the bias, bearish power of three. Friday, we're expecting the opposite end of the range to be completed. So we're going to look for upside moves, and we're in our 1330. That's your kill zone. Up into close, we're going to expect an upside move and price to close to the upside. So you play that out. This is part of your bias. And this is more of an aggressive entry, but I'll take it when my bias is strong. You trade through the high of this candle, that's your order block. Mean threshold, that was my first entry there. And my eyes go straight to these equal highs. And price expands to the upside. Take another entry here in the fair value gap because I'm still not at the target. And we reach for the highs, and then price throughout this time, it closes towards the high. And we don't expect it to move lower. We expect to move off the lows. And we saw that same thing happen today. Another bearish week. This is all a Judas swing. And then price breaks down. We're not expecting price to close near the low, just with the idea of the bearish power of three. So we come around last hour of the day. This is going to be, again, another aggressive entry, but it is realistic. Um, you could have done the same thing. We sweep lows, and we have an hour left in the day, and we're expecting range expansion to the upside. You have that's a potential order block entry, and you have fair value gap, fair value gap. This is actually a market maker buy model. So you have low risk buy, first leg, second leg, and then we close away from the low. So that's just a way you can use a weekly profile to gain daily bias, and take intraday trades.
Okay, so are contracts okay to trade in Europe? So like elite funding. You would have to reach out to them, their support about that, because I do not know. Um, how many losses in a day or in a row is okay? I would say it's all depending on your risk management, right? Um, if you, it depends how many losses you took to get in the loss of 10K, right? But I don't know. If you want to discuss that more, feel free to reach out. Yeah, if you guys have any other more questions or any more questions, be sure to let them out, and then we will kind of get to them before we close this up. What is the order to watch ICT videos? I would watch them from 1 to 40 or whatever order he has them in. You have 2K remaining to recover 10K. I would focus on treating 2K as like that was your port size. So treat it just like 2K was what you started with. Learned quite a bit from you. Just wanted to thank you. Well, thanks for being here, Carlos. Um, so it looks like we're coming near an hour on this. If you guys have any other questions, let's get them out for me or AM, and then we'll probably hop off. Sorry once again for all the confusion with the live. Silky is in Europe, and so it just kind of messed up on times. AM, do you have a channel?
A YouTube channel, I have one, but there are no videos on it currently. All my stuff's on Twitter.
Yes, have
Hopefully in the
nothing.
future.
Been watching it over. Sweet. When daily highs and lows are taken, what internal levels do you look for? I can actually go over that if you want. Let's see. Oops. So when I look for like daily levels to be taken, right? So for example, let me go here. Oops. I'm going to do that up here. Like for example, if we go back to here, right? This took the daily high of the previous level, right? And what would I look for in this area? Well, do you have any obvious internal liquidity, right? So if we go here and you go to like a 15-minute chart, do you have obvious liquidity you can be target in the center of the range? And yes, there is, right? You have this fair value gap and then this one, right? I would prefer to target a fair value gap in discount if we're shorting, right? So that would be my first target before targeting the low of the day, right? Does that make sense? So then if you go through this, right, that could be your first target, right? This order block and filling this fair value gap. And then this one, and then the low of the day, right? So I'll just use the most obvious areas of liquidity. And for me, that is fair value gaps, order blocks with fair value gaps, and then liquidity levels. I don't know if AM, do you have something different on that?
On the daily highs and low.
Just like, yeah, what internal liquidity do you look for?
Well, I mean, I think daily high and low sweeps are pretty significant. So that's like part of that. Like I was mentioning earlier, like the higher time frame, using daily, hourly, for that bias. So if I see a daily sweep and I think there's a directional bias, then it's just basic low time frame entries.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Do you have any suggestions on passive income opportunities? I would say find something you enjoy and then grow in that area, and then there should be some way to make money. Usually, if you don't try to make money, the money will come. It's weird, but I don't know if that even makes sense. Thanks, Harash. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Thanks, everyone, for coming out, even though this was kind of unplanned, unexpected. Was pretty sorry about the confusion, so I just wanted to kind of make that up and give you guys something to learn from. Why does a fair value gap offer liquidity? I'm going to answer that really quick before we go. So if we're looking at this level right here, right, this fair value gap, I'm actually going to go to like a 5-minute today. Really, a fair value gap is just liquidity on a lower time frame, right? So if we are looking at, let's find a fair value gap on one that we want to use. I think 1 minute was good. A good one. Oh, wait. Today. So for example, this fair value gap right in here, right? We just go to like there, right? We go to a lower time frame. All that fair value gap is like, well, I'm trying to think of a better example. Ideally here, I'm just going to draw it out. So if you have some sort of fair value gap in here, right? Like right here on per se the 5-minute, and you switch down to the 1 minute, there's normally going to be some sort of liquidity resting there, right? So if we go to something, we'll go to like a 15-minute chart. Let me try to find an example. We'll go into this area here, go to something like, so that's our fair value gap, something like a 1 minute, right? And so you see there is highs right here resting, right? That's what makes the fair value gap. So that's why there's liquidity in there. If that makes sense. I can kind of go over something like that. We're both in United States. Appearance, bodies. I'll post they're posted on my community tab, but I'll post them again. Thanks for the stream. See you guys next weekend. Yeah, and we'll actually have a stream Sunday too. So, but thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully I got that last question, and I'll see you guys all later.